Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Sven, for the introduction. I'm, as Sven said, the past chairman of a working group, and I would like to introduce our working group for you and our new journal. So this is the board, the nucleus of our working group, and the chairman is sitting here in the hall, Basil Lewis. I think you know him, all of you, and the rest of the nucleus you can see there. So 5-6 years ago, we sat down and discussed what do we want for the future. We was quite a small working group within ESC, so we set up a few goals. We wanted to start a high-quality journal, and we have done that. I will come back to that. And we wanted to start annual working group meetings. We have done that as well. So now the 6th meeting is coming up in Tel Aviv in May next year, so you are more than welcome to visit us there. And we want to participate in the ESC guidelines work and produce position papers from the working group. Position papers are dealing with, not with a whole guideline section, but with smaller parts which is not discussed in the major guidelines. And we participate in the Committee for Practical Guidelines. That's the board who produces the guidelines for ESC. And we also want to participate in the ESC Program Committee to construct the program of a major ESC Congress with more than 30,000 participants. The next one, as you are well aware, is coming up in Munich in August next year. And we wanted to, as I said, we was quite a small working group with about 100 members at that time, and we wanted to increase the number of members. So we have attracted quite a lot of members compared to those figures, and now I think the figure is is close to 600. So that's fine. This is how we look, the profile. We have 20% females, and I'm afraid most older guys in the group, but we would like to recruit more females and more younger people in the group. So what have we achieved? This is examples of our recent position papers, and they are published in European Heart Journal or in our own journal, European Heart Journal, Cardiovascular Pharmacotherapy. And just as a brief comment, this paper has one of the highest altmetric score in the world. And what is altmetric score? We will not know about impact factor, but altmetric score mirrors the social media attraction of a paper. And this was dealing about NSAIDs and cardiovascular mortality. So that was a public interest. And we have participated in all these guidelines during the last years, either as authors or reviewers. And we will continue to do that. And in Barcelona, we had 12 sessions organized by our working group. So we have a high visibility. And then coming up to the journal, we have recruited an excellent editorial board with clever people from all over the world, and we are proud of that and grateful for their help to review papers. And we are indexed in MEDLINE, and actually that's a hurdle to get into MEDLINE, and only 40% of the applications of new journals are accepted. And we was the youngest journal accepted last year, except for a JAMA journal, which was a special case. And now we have submitted our applications for having an impact factor, which we think we will get next year, and it looks very good if we look at the citations we find on the net. So we try to keep a high speed when dealing with the papers, with an average of 17 days from submission to first decision. And accepted manuscripts are published online within a few days and replaced with corrected proofs within a couple of weeks. So our working group, in summary, we arrange educational activities. You are here. Thank you for that. And we organize yearly scientific meetings. Next one, Tel Aviv, I said. We have a journal which is free from working group members. And we participate in the ESC Guideline Committee and in the Congress program, and we produce position papers. So in summary, we produce knowledge, and by doing that, we save lives. There are a lot of papers dealing with this issue, and it's clearly shown that hospitals with good adherence to guidelines have a better outcome for the patients compared to those with less adherence to guidelines. Then coming to this topic, and this is the end of constructing a study, the last hurdle, you have to publish it. I'm the editor-chief of a journal, so what do we look at when we receive a paper submitted from an author? We have to think of the scope of the journal. Does this paper fit in? And when we get papers, we would like to have some touch of pharmacology, of course. And we strongly advise to read author information carefully, because we have a secretary at Oxford University Press who does look at that and look at the word count and the reference style and things like that. So, and if it's not correct, the paper will go back right away to the author to do that. So save time and read this author information. Choose the article type and follow these instructions. I would say that a short and interesting title is a plus, instead of having a whole sentence as a title. And spend time on the abstract, because most readers only read the abstract. Only a few people read a whole paper. And select classifications for the paper. That might be uninteresting for the author, but it's very good for our position in the editorial board and as an editor, but because it makes it much easier to find reviewers. So be careful about the conflict of interest. Tell everything. It's embarrassing if things turns up later. Word count, be honest there, because we check. Letters to the editor, it's important. Why is this paper important? What's new about it? And don't write a book about it. Keep it short. And please suggest reviewers. That makes it easier, quicker for us. And don't suggest your best friends in the same country, because we don't use them anyway. And if you want or dislike any reviewers who might be competing with you, you might mention that and reason for why you don't this particular person reviewing your paper. And remember to attach all files. It's easy to forget anyone here. So what do we look at? Of course, we look at, is this novel? We always do a search in MEDLINE if we don't know the field particularly well. And we also look for duplicates from the same author. So be careful about that. We would like to see a hypothesis and aims well described. And we dislike milking out data from older studies. Sometimes it's tempting, if you have a great database, to sit in the database and look, oh, is that correlated with that? Wow, we have to publish that. And that's tempting. But, if you do that anyway, it's okay, but then you have to be honest and say, this is a post hoc analysis. Results needs to be regarded as hypothesis generating. So, that's the proposal. And of course, we would like to see, we look at the methods used in the study. Are they adequate? Established methods or new methods? Description or discussion about validation of the methods is important, and an ethical approval is necessary. Otherwise, we can't publish. We always look at the statistical methods section. Is the study size large enough? And we love to see statistical power calculations. And please look at the reference styles, so we don't have to spend more time at that. And be stylish. Errors in tables and reference, it's disliked, and some minor things in the English language is not a problem, but if it's written in very poor English, it's not good. So avoid sending in slop manuscripts, or rather use an extra day for cleaning up a paper and look at the details. It gives a better impression to the editors. And so I believe the last sentence is first impression last, and if it looks bad and sloppy, we reject it right away without a review. So what is the process now? 35% of the papers are rejected without review, and the others are sent out to 3 to 4 reviewers, and then the decision is made within 2 weeks, and you can get a reply, any of those, accept this. That's quite unusual, where reviewers usually have some comments that the authors have to deal with. Minor revision, that's almost a promise, we will publish this, but you have to do some minor changes. Major revision also usually leads to publication in the end, but it's a little bit weaker promise. Revision de novo means start again and do a new submissions, and that could end up in reaction or acceptance in the end. Reject is, of course, reject. And when we sometimes reject, but invite the authors to send it in another format. It might be a full paper that is interesting, but maybe not interesting enough to be a full paper. When it could be resubmitted as an editorial or a letter to the editor or a short report. So, summary, we like novel data, good hypothesis. We like adequate methods, study size calculations, nice presentation. Table and figures are appreciated. It's easy to read a paper with a lot of tables and figures rather than having 10 pages with text only. That's quite boring. Adequate and balanced conclusions. Be aware of the weakness of a study and declare them. And of course, as an editor, we always have in our backheads, will this paper be cited? So this is coming to the end of our presentation. I would like to encourage you to become members of our working group, and that's quite easy. You can go into escardio.com, it should be .com, and then find the working groups section, and then there is a place there where you can apply, and then your application has to be approved by the chairman. And he usually does that. So why should you be a member? Well, this is a summary of our activities, and you can be a part of that. We arrange these educational activities, and we are planning to develop them furthermore, and hopefully we can arrange a master education within a couple of years. We are discussing that together with ESC Academy and some universities. And you have access to the working group scientific meeting, and you have a journal, and you might have influence on the guideline committee and position papers and the Congress program. And again, by doing that, we create knowledge, and I won't repeat what I said before, but I think we save lives by that. Thank you for your attention.